this conversation, when I was invited to host by Anudeep, the point of this discussion was the advent of credit Saison India, how exactly it has been growing over the last 5 odd years in terms of the business growth, in terms of potential of the Indian market. So after discussing all of these topics, I want to take this through this conversation with all 3 gentlemen. I'll start with you, Mori-san. Now, you've spent, what, 10 odd years as the head for global business. I was just looking at the designation that they've given you, Senior Managing Executive Officer at Credit Saison and Head of Global Business. He's also MD, Credit Saison APAC, Managing Partner, Saison Capital. That's a mouthful, but I just want to start firstly with your 10-year-odd experience. What exactly have you learned from the Japanese office? How's that sort of driving your decision-making and your thinking here in India?
Sure. But let me go back a little bit before getting to Credit Saison. So I was born and grew up in Japan, and I went to college, and then my first career was a bank. So I started with a bank, which happens to be today's Mizuho Bank. And yeah. And I went to business school in the US before I started my own startup, which now you can call fintech. And then I joined Credit Saison 11 years ago when it started to expand globally from the scratch. And going back to your question, my 11 years with Credit Saison is actually a combination of my past experiences, in a sense that it's about building business from the scratch, so startups, entrepreneurship, but under the traditional financial institution, which is Credit Saison. And the experience and the learning from Japan is that Credit Saison is a very unique DNA and open culture that allows this combination to maximize the potential. So I've been like literally flying around, running around in my own drive, but with always the backing and support, and also long-term thinking and patience. And that really allows me to, after, looking back 11 years, after the initial 5 years, then I sort of came to India and then really sort of thought, here we can make something great. So it's really, that what makes us here.
All right, I'll dig into the India bit shortly, but for next question to Shizuka-san. 30 years now in your role at Mizuho, I wanted to get a sense of what exactly this career path has looked like for you.
Thank you. Kojiro Shizuka, I'm a managing director and head of Global Corporate and Investment Banking Coordination Department, which shortly promotes and supports overseas business of Mizuho and reports into Global Head of Overseas Business. A little bit about Mizuho. Mizuho is one of the 3 largest banks in Japan with total asset of $2 trillion US. We have offices in 30 countries, 5 in India. That's top 3 countries that we have most offices overseas. I joined Mizuho at the retail branch first, and then mostly on the client coverage and product coverage side, facing clients, pretty much all my Mizuho career. In Japan, it's very usual, now a little bit changing, but to spend your career in one organization, unlike Mori-san. So when I joined Mizuho, I started with retail. I did a lot of product coverage, like fixed income sales, M&A advisory, private equities. And on the corporate side, the client coverage side, I did corporate finance, supporting global tech fund out of Japan. And I did, from the overseas perspective, I did 2 stints in New York, totally about 7 years, 3 years before the financial crisis, and 4 years most recently on the investment banking side. So I did gain a lot of experience within Mizuho, doing business, supporting business, and Mizuho has been changing, dramatically, supporting, overseas clients from traditional corporate banking to investment banking, more the retail side as well. Japanese clients to non-Japanese clients. I think that's a lot of Mizuho journey that I'm experiencing.
All right. And Koyama-san, what about you? You spent now close to about 3 decades. We can speak on that side. Close to about 3 decades now for you. How are you sort of viewing this journey of your entire career as well as the bank itself?
Okay, thank you very much. Again, my name is Takeshi Koyama. I'm now working for the corporate strategy as the reporting into our group CEO, responsible for the group entire financial group strategy. And then, so first of all, I feel very much privileged to be here. And then congratulations on this fantastic event. And also, before responding to your question, I want to say, as you kindly mentioned, I spent almost 29 years with Mizuho. And then, so I joined former IBJ. That is the same with Mori-san. In that sense, Mizuho lost Mori-san. And then we are now trying to get back him. That's why we injected capital. So anyway, I started career as kind of very typically working for the one of the branch in Japan. And then out of my almost 30 years career, half of my career I spent for the client business, including my 4 years in New York and 5 years in London, most recently, and mainly working for the global investment banking side. And the remaining half, almost 15 years, I've been working for corporate strategy. And most recently, I was in London where I spent 5 years until 2 years ago, and then back to Tokyo. And then again, as I mentioned, I'm working for the corporate strategy. And then, of course, the 29 years is just journey, as you mentioned. And then through the course of that, I've been learning quite a lot. And then what I'm now focusing on is I'm now backing to the sort of the social responsibility and also the responsibility of the financial institutions. And at the same time, upon my the international career, I'm committing to both Japan and also international global. And then particularly in my 5 years in London, I had a very good fortune to be very much involved for India-related things. I had a very strong connection with many talented people sitting in London, sitting anywhere in the world, the Indian people. At the same time, I have a very strong belief onto the India-Japan corridor. That's why based on my global international experience, I have some feeling this is my mission to commit to this alignment. With that, in that way, my 20 years career is something to do with here, why I'm here.
Okay. Thank you for that. Mori-san, next question for you. So, when earlier Presha and the rest of the management members were making the presentation and talking about Credit Saison India, the MNC or the multinational sort of lineage of this company, that topic came up over and over again. Why would you choose India, and what exactly does the MNC tag do for a business in India?
So again, over the last 11 years of journey, we started off from Southeast Asia, and then we entered into Vietnam, where we acquired Société Générale, the French bank's 100% subsidiary, which was doing point-of-sale financing, motorcycle financing. Now we are issuing credit cards, but we acquired half of it. So that was there. In Indonesia, we set up multi-finance company, which is a non-bank financial license company, but we needed a 15% at least local shareholding. So we did a joint venture. And then we did many different things. But when it comes to India, we were looking into some M&A opportunity. Then but we lost the deal. But then, since then, I've been starting to meet fintechs and banks, NBFCs, and venture capitals, and all those people. And then I was really, really fascinated and impressed by the ecosystem here. And that is enabled by, and compared to the market that I was operating in, that is enabled by like clear regulatory framework or the digital infrastructure, like India Stack. And also India has lots of talent in tech industry as well as financial sector. And that naturally results in attracting all the world-class investor, whether it's VC, PEs, et cetera, et cetera. And that creates a really sort of robust ecosystem within India, which is, of course, large and fast-growing. And one of the things is that that I learned back in 2018 is that we could set up an NBFC with 100% ownership, and that was also critical for us because it's not so easy to do something from scratch before we see something. So then we came up with this idea of again coming back to the point that I made earlier about the partnership. If this ecosystem is so many players, and we can work with them in a particular way, then that may be our entry strategy, and then work with the partners and grow with the ecosystem while we make revenue and profits and while we learn the market. So that's kind of crystallized into this sort of thesis when we came into India. But to your point about MNC, yes, we have different businesses and offices in different parts of the world, but I think we're starting to look like a true MNC only for the last few years. And India clearly sort of shifted our gear into that. And as I told you, the reason why we expanded even further to LATAM, many people actually ask this question, like, why Brazil and Mexico? Why? And there's a clear reason why, which is sort of out of your question, so I wouldn't go into details. But one of the clear reasons is, again, we can sort of apply the India playbook in a similarly robust financial and fintech ecosystem. So that was the reason. But yeah, so I think we're only starting to look like MNC. But yeah, so it's just the journey is just started, and we're now in the process.
2024, India's already seen an influx of a lot of people in the lending market, in the credit market. You've seen a lot of local companies set up fairly successful businesses, some of them not so much, but most of them, yes. What went behind your decision?
Yeah, thank you. So India clearly is a growing market, growing economy, scale, large population, pool of exceptional talent. So during the last decade, or especially last few years, we've been making a lot of decisions how to expand our business portfolios. So last couple of years, we made investment into financial platform in Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia. And then, of course, India was our target as well. And Mori-san, early last year, walked us through what Credit Saison does in India. And one of the key concepts during within our strategy is what Koyama-san mentioned about social responsibility, how to solve social issues around the globe. That was one of the key strategies that we wanted to focus, and of course the financial inclusion. And when Mori-san walked us through, we just hit it off. We loved the concept. And then we met Presha and the management team, and we just dig in through their business and try to understand. India market, a lot of government-led initiatives that made us comfort. With regards to the company, of course, very focused tech team who are not thinking only about tech, but how to, speed up the process, how to analyze the credit, and then of course the consumer experience, user experience. And then the management team, and the lastly but not least is the cultural fit with Mizuho. I think that was the most important part. And then that's why we made 15% investment with the board seat. That's an equity method affiliate of of Mizuho, which we don't really usually do. But the fit and the market overview and the potential, I think that's one of the reasons and the big reasons that we made the investment.
Koyama-san, you already have a banking franchise that's active here in India, right? So then why this NBFC partnership?
Okay, thank you very much for asking. Just a simple answer is this could be supplemental. So we do believe that between the Kisetsu and between Mizuho existing business, we might be able to create some synergy, big synergy. Of course, we are thinking what we might be able to do for the Kisetsu client. But with this alignment, we might be able to, together with Kisetsu, we might be able to expand our client bases. And then that will, again, I want to echo to Shizuka-san, that will prove our commitment to India through the commitment to the social responsibility. But back to maybe the question to Shizuka-san. I just want to add several aspects. Maybe 2, 3. First reason why we decided our commitment to this alignment is, firstly, we believe in India. Of course, without doubt, that this country has the biggest potential to grow in the world. And also, the government and the regulator are really well managing the process. And also, we are so impressed with the fascinating the technology in India. So from the Japanese perspective, so UPI, account aggregation, credit bureau, those kind of things are really fascinating. And then that might be able to make Kisetsu to make some big leap in the very properly managed way. So in that way, we believe in India, we believe in India's potential, India's future. That is the first reason. Second reason is we love in Kisetsu because of the quality of the company, particularly with a very high level of the technology you are having, and also the very high quality of the management. I want to say, as the president mentioned, I know the Kisetsu is targeting to be a top 10, but I still want to say this is a properly aggressive. So my impression is the management really thoughtful and then well managing the process and the strategy. So in that way, we believe in the tech, the quality of the management, and then the passion of the employee you guys having. So that's why we love in Kisetsu. And then lastly, third reason why we decided this investment is, again, we are seeing a very true good fit from a strategic perspective, at the same time, philosophical perspective. Long story short, we believe we have a very big chemistry. So that's why we decided this investment.
Okay. Just for the audience, before coming here, I had texted a friend who's very active in the Bangalore startup space. And he's engaged with the company quite a bit. But then I was asking him what his opinion of the company was, right? And his response was, because Koyama-san mentioned account aggregation, I wanted to pick this up. His response to my query was Macha, because that's how they say friend in Bangalore. But Macha, decent folks, very ambitious, but please ask them how account aggregation is going to change their lives. I want to pick that question with you, Mori-san. There's a lot of digital public infrastructure that is coming up in India. Obviously, it has made lives easier for lenders. You've built a business that's now what, 12,000 odd crore as of March 2024. You're aiming for a 50,000 crore book. That's what Prisha's presentation showed. What is that India thesis that's going to bring that company up to 50,000 crore? How do you think you're going to grow this over time? And how much is digital public infrastructure going to help you?
I believe, first of all, there's a lots of unmet credit demand. And when this economy is set for scale and people have aspiration, and there are lots of small businesses that are actually making up the employment and the economy, and there's again lots of gap in demand and supply of the credit, and so the market potential is huge. So something like you mentioned, like account aggregator, or for that matter, like we use different data to cater into different segments, and also tech and those, and that is a really enabler for us to sort of go deep into the segments or the needs that couldn't be sort of met otherwise. So again, when the gap is huge, and there's many sort of enablers like this, public digital financial infrastructure, I think we are the ones who really take advantage of it to fill. And not necessarily us ourselves doing it, but our partners are also doing it. So collectively, I think we're really sort of in the front line to fill the gap. And if we do that properly and successfully, I just can't think that we don't grow like we target. But the key is we do it rightly and properly, right? And just to add to that point, as an NBFC, even in Japan, we believe that the NBFC's job is to go to the front line and cater to the segment or cater to the needs that were not necessarily so easily met by the banks because of the different structure or different appetites, right? But again, we are NBFC, and we'd like to, play that role in the India's growth journey, and we believe, the potential is just big enough, and the right set of infrastructure is now being set up, and we are, I think, becoming quite good at, using those to grow.
All right. I want to ask one question for the entire panel. Do you want to say something, Shizuka-san? No. Okay. So let me ask you a common sort of a question, and I want all three of you to give me a short, quick answer. Right? This partnership is now fully functional. There's a business that's growing quite fast, and as the management members were pointing out, that the quality of the growth is actually quite pristine. What is the outlook that you have for Credit Saison India? First Mori-san, then Shizuka-san, and then finally Koya-san.
So outlook, just Prisha and the team presented. We have clearly set sort of right eye. so that's the forward outlook, and then cascade down to the immediate plan, and we are so clear in terms of what we want to do and what we need to do. So the forward outlook, right eye to the top 10. So that's the answer, short answer.
Okay, thank you for that, Shizuka-san.
Yeah, I think Kisetsu's team has a great balance between offense and defense, and I think that's very important for when the companies to grow. And then, as Presha mentioned, it's mada desu, so that we're still expecting and supporting the business with the support of all the lenders here.
Koyama-san?
I want to echo to Shizuka-san. So the Kisetsu has been already proving themselves, but still mada desu. So through this alignment, we might be able to prove more. And just one episode I want to share is when I look back to the Japanese 1960s, when the Japan made a very rapid hyper growth. At the timing, at the individual level, at the small corporate level, so there has been a very, very big resistance in the hesitancy for the borrowing. But the borrowing leverage sometimes accelerates the growth. but that needs to be very properly managed. So my belief is technology might help. And then I think in that perspective, we see a very high quality of the technology and then very well properly managed pace of the growth. I think that success might be the big contributor to the Indian growth. So we see high level of the technology and then very well managed the learning capacity. I think the India as a whole might be able to skip several steps and then which accelerate the growth of the country.
All right. So that's Mori-san saying that the right eye, you want to focus on just the right eye of the bird. Shizuka-san talking about the ability to grow within India as a market and the unmet credit demand that exists, and Koyama-san, of course, talking about the technology that will boost that quality of growth, good quality of growth. All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for talking to this audience and talking to me. Pleasure talking to you as always.